Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. In the first story, we'll tell how our OP faced the problem of moving to another city. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Fine, here's my other driver's license. This just happened about 2 hours ago, so I figured that I'd share. So I used to be a Maryland resident, but now I'm moving back to New York to be closer to my wife, parents, and grandparents. Anyway, changing your state residency can be a huge pain. The two big things that I needed to do were get a New York driver's license and then register/title my vehicle. Earlier this week, I went into the DMV to get my New York license. For some reason, they didn't even need my proof of address. They just trusted what I wrote on the forms, gave me a temporary paper license, this is important, and I was on my way. Afterwards, I changed my insurance over to New York, got the proper documentation, and decided to get to the DMV early so I wouldn't need to wait in a 3-hour line. I ended up arriving at the DMV at 8:10 a.m. Of course, it's pretty cold, about 32 degrees, and the staff absolutely refused to open the doors until exactly 8:30 when the office opened. By the time the doors opened, there were at least 100 people waiting in line, all freezing our tails off. Now that the doors are open, it's a mad dash to get those stupid tickets so we can be first in line. I walk up to a woman at the counter and state that I'm transferring my out-of-state registration to New York. She looks at my documents, gives me a ticket, and my number is immediately called. Great. I walk up to the counter, still freezing, I'm actually shivering, and can't quite talk right because my teeth are clattering. I'm just happy that I didn't have to wait in another line. I hand the clerk my ticket, my registration application, tax-exempt document, and original title. He then asks for my driver's license. So I hand him my temporary paper New York driver's license. Apparently this is unacceptable. From here on out, I'm M and the clerk is C. C. Excuse me, what is this? M. It's my New York driver's license? C. But this doesn't identify you. M. Yes, it does. I was here earlier this week. They told me to use this if I was pulled over by police or need to register my vehicle. But there isn't a picture on here. I need a photo of you so I can identify you. The New York DMV website stated I need to bring my New York driver's license, so here it is. Listen, it doesn't matter what the website says. I need photo identification for you, or you can't register your vehicle. Now at this point, I'm pretty pissed. I woke up early, drove to the DMV, waited in 32-degree weather while all the DMV staff were sitting there enjoying the warmth of their office while we all froze. I followed the New York DMV instructions to the letter. It said I needed to bring in my New York driver's license, which is what I did. Fine, here's my other driver's license. I then hand him my old out-of-state driver's license that I've been carrying around. You were supposed to hand in your out-of-state driver's license when you got your new one. Oh, I did. But you see, in Maryland, we get a new driver's license every time that we move, and we get to keep the old ones. So this is one of my old ones. I figured your staff would know this. You do work for the DMV, right? It's a completely valid, unexpired driver's license with my photo on it. You can use this to verify my identity, right? He gives me a look, nods, then goes through the process. He's a bit angered, but hands me my registration and plates. I then ask him if he can look up my new New York State driver's license ID number, conveniently on my temporary New York driver's license. He says sure, searches and finds it, with my picture attached. He could have just entered my New York license number in his system, saw that it was clearly me, and I would have been on my way. And our next story. Do as you're told, low grades. About 16 years ago, I started my first job as a grocery assistant, shelf stacker, for the supermarket chain Sainsbury's. If you're not familiar, it's a UK chain that targets the lower middle class. Fancier than Asda, not as fancy as Waitrose. I'll be honest in admitting that I effing despise that job, but I always did my job well and professionally. For the 2 years I was there, I consistently had the highest case rating, getting goods onto shelves in a timely manner in the store, and got top grades with mystery shoppers. My department manager was a vile little woman. I'll call her PD, as she was about 4'11" and was the very definition of what folk around my way call a poison dwarf. Just a truly obnoxious, toxic, unfeeling little female monster. I once had an entire shelf of 21 Coke bottles come loose, fall about a foot, and crack me on the head, giving me a concussion, which, considering the weight, I was probably lucky to get away with. Her response, "Fix that effing shelf, idiot. The effing product had better be okay." Well, all the grocery associates had to be trained to work the tills, to jump on at super busy times, and to help cover breaks. I generally didn't go on till very often, as I was the fastest at getting product out, and being a pretty big dude, 6'4", 16 stone, I was good at hauling heavy pallets of stock around the store. Well, one particular shift, I'm hauling an overfilled pallet of tinned pet food, probably weighing about 1 to 1.5 tons, down the aisle to fill the shelves using a manual pallet truck. I had to use the manual one because the B-turd company doesn't want to pay for motorized ones. It's a busy Saturday evening, and the call goes out for all available staff to go to the tills. There's a ton of folk on in my department, so I ignore it and keep hauling my heavy butt load. I'm cutting through the booze aisle with a colleague, bringing an equally heavy pallet of beer up behind when PD appears like a sudden living migraine to royally F up my day. PD: "Baby, didn't you hear the call for everyone to go to the tills?" Me: "Yeah, PD, but you told me to stock this ASAP, and there's more than enough people on to cover." "No, the call went out. You have to go to the till. Do it now." "You too, D." D being my colleague hauling the beer. "Okay, F it, whatever." Company policy is to never leave a pallet unattended on the floor, so D and myself, about turn, share a silent look of, "What a C," and start hauling the goods back to the warehouse. Before we can make much headway, PD reappears looking like the world's most unpleasant lawn ornament. "I told you to get on those tills." "We've got to return the pallets to the warehouse." PD's now getting irate. "Leave them and just do as you're told, you low grades." Low grade, if you don't know, is a slur that used to be used to describe folk with learning disabilities or special needs. Well, me and D share another silent look. This one says, "F this C," so we do as we're told. He drops his pallet at the top of the booze aisle, and I drop mine at the bottom. The booze aisle is now completely blocked on a busy Saturday night in Scotland, and the only people big enough to shift them just got dumped on the tills. D and I hop on our tills, and the place is effing mobbed. We both end up staying there for a good hour while a steady stream of customers rage about how they can't get their booze because the aisle is blocked. Eventually, a stream of customers thins to a trickle, and me and D get back to what we should have been doing. As we start heading back, one of the girls from my department tells us PD and the store manager are looking for us. Sure enough, we're both promptly summoned to the SM's office to explain ourselves. We get yelled at for a few minutes while a smug-looking PD watches on. Yes, we know that we aren't to leave pallets on the shop floor. Yes, especially not blocking access to aisles. Yes, we can imagine how much money we cost the store. However, we were just doing as PD had instructed. Yeah, PD told us to drop them and go to the tills. We were just doing as we told. SM can review the security camera footage if he doesn't believe us. SM's now a bit red in the face. PD's forced to admit that, yes, she did tell us to do that. D and I are promptly asked to return to work and that SM would like to see us later. We didn't get to witness PD get royally chewed out, but from sources elsewhere in the management team assured me it was pretty savage. SM actually apologized for reaming us in front of the horrid little bee and politely reminded us in the future if it happened again, take the effing pallets back to the warehouse first. I'd love to say my time there got better after that, but alas, it did not. PD made my life hell for the rest of my blissfully short time remaining there, but I got my moment of lovely, malicious compliance and got the little effer a royal bullocking in the process. 100% should have had your partner comment be, "Sorry, low grade, you don't have any authority anymore," on the last day you saw her. And our last story. I'm the cause of a divorce. Was told this should go here, so here it is. I accidentally cut this guy off. I waved at him and yelled I was sorry. He followed me, stopped at a stoplight, and threatened to beat me up. Tried to get me out of the car. I took pictures of his car. He told me he'd shoot me. So I drove off. I'm a guy who's very afraid of confrontation. I subscribe to a lot of research sites, and I reverse looked him up based on his license plate number. I got everything I could. His car had a college license plate and a Marine Corps sticker. So with his full name, his address, and the school he went to, he was easy to find on Facebook. I created a fake Facebook account with pictures of a girl I found on the net, and I friended him. He accepted and started chatting me up a bit, just in messages though. I could see everything about him, saw who his wife was and that he has kids, One day he asked if I'd call him, so I bought one of those cell phones from a grocery store and texted him, told him I couldn't call, that my boyfriend was the jealous type, but I wanted out. Our texting went on, and I eventually started sending him selfie shots of this girl I found. She had a full album, and I'd save each image for different days. Later, he started sending me his nudes. I started sending thinking of you cards to his home address to him. No return address. He flipped and asked me via text if it was me. He insisted that we meet to talk about it, so I pretended to be my boyfriend and told him I was going to blow his effing brains out. Then I took pictures of everything, the entire exchange, and mailed the entire book to his wife. She ended up leaving and they got a divorce. The idiot never defriended me from Facebook. He lost his house, had to pay alimony and child support. He whined about being taken to the cleaners by his wife. Don't know what to think about this one. I have this thing where if people really cross me out on the road, I'll do background searches on them and then really mess with them. Most stuff is I find out someone had a criminal record and I anonymously ask their employer if they know, or I subscribe to barely legal porn mags, gay or straight, and have it mailed to their home or work. But this one, I went farther than I ever had. Something about the way that guy kept trying to get me out of the car so he could hurt me scared me and made me really angry. This guy was the last time I did the search and destroy thing. I think I may have taken it too far. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.